A lot of ADHD advice centers around productivity, getting things done, and regulating your attention. But if you ask me, the real elephant in the room is emotion regulation. After I was diagnosed with ADHD about 4 years ago, I did 12 weeks of really helpful, very practical cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm starting this series called Skills That Stuck, where I'm going to share with you the most helpful things that I took away from therapy after I was diagnosed. So this is part 1 on emotion regulation, but in total there will be 5 parts to this series, including stuff about attention and impulsivity, socializing and conversations, and productivity and getting things done, as well as planning and decision making. All the sections of the series will interact with each other, so I really recommend that you watch the whole series. But today we're going to start with emotion regulation because I personally believe that that is the beginning point. I have to give you a quick disclaimer because I am not a licensed therapist. I am not your therapist. I do have a background in psychology and neuroscience, but this is just what I took from my personal ADHD journey and what I learned in therapy. And I do believe that these tips are low risk and very practical and that anybody can try them no matter what you're going through. But this is not a replacement for going to therapy yourself and doing the work that you need to do on your personal journey. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and comment below what you found helpful and what you would like to hear more about, or what else you would like me to cover. So the first very helpful thing I learned in therapy was how to deal with automatic negative thoughts, aka ants. Those of us with ADHD are super prone to automatic negative thoughts, and these ants are not helpful. And this is because those of us with ADHD and often anxiety as well deal with what are called cognitive distortions. There is an extensive list of cognitive distortions out there, and I'm not going to go over all of them, but basically these can include things like very black and white thinking, catastrophizing, jumping to conclusions, or believing that just because you feel something means it's always true. But your thoughts are not always true, and this can make your anxiety stronger, and your anxiety can make these feelings stronger as well. But in therapy, I learned about this super practical tool called the thought log, which basically uses a technique called cognitive reappraisal. Cognitive reappraisal works by saying if you reinterpret your thoughts, you can change how you feel about them. Now, this might sound like you're actually gaslighting yourself into believing something else, but that's not the case. What you're actually doing is validating how you're feeling and regulating the emotions so that you align with a more realistic worldview. So how does the thought log work? The first thing you do is write down the negative thought that you're having, like, I always break things. Next, you're going to list what behaviors you're engaging in while you're having this negative thought. So you might be pacing, you might be crying, you might be breathing heavily, you might be ruminating. Just list down whatever behaviors are going along with your thought. After that, you're going to list down the emotions associated with the thought or what you're currently experiencing. So maybe you're frustrated, maybe you're feeling disappointed, maybe you're feeling betrayed, maybe you're feeling hurt, maybe you're feeling ashamed. All of these sorts of emotions, just write them down. You don't have to do anything else with them. And then you're going to list also the other thoughts that are connected to this thought. So maybe you're thinking, why am I like this? I'm always so clumsy. I can't be trusted with things. And I'm saying this as these are thoughts that I have actually had, even though I know that they're not true, but they do often come up. Now, here comes the bit where you're actually going to ground yourself more in reality. You're going to give this negative thought a credibility score. And this can be quite difficult to do at first, but it gets better with practice. But basically, you're going to give it a number from 0 to 100 on how true is this thought actually. So if your thought, like mine, was, I always break things, do you always break things? How often do you break things on a scale from 0 to 100? Just give it a credibility score as a percentage. It doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. And what I also like to do, because I do this digitally, is I like to log the date and time that this is happening so that I can also see if there's any sort of patterns that come up. Now, here's the validating part. You're going to look for evidence that actually supports your thought. So maybe you do break things frequently. Write down, I broke things today, but I also broke something last week, and I broke something last month. And you're going to list specific events, not feelings, but actual concrete evidence for why this thought might be true. I like to list 1 to 3 things. It's better if you can list about 3, but don't do any more than that, just so we can move forward. Next, you're going to balance it out by writing 1 to 3 statements that contradict that thought. Like, I'm actually really careful with a lot of my belongings, and mistakes happen and I didn't do this on purpose, or something else influenced me to break this thing. I'm coming up with examples on the fly, but it's better the more concrete your evidence is. So you're looking for reasons why your thought is not fully true or not accurate. Now comes the helpful part. You're going to list 1 to 3 helpful thoughts or helpful things you can do to move forward. Like, I can clean this up and it's just a glass. It's not the end of the world. I really like to focus on helpful thoughts and practical things I can do to move forward in this moment so that I have a way to continue instead of spiral. So why does this work? Well, first of all, it validates your feelings. It doesn't make you feel dismissed and it doesn't make you feel crazy. Once you're feeling validated, then we can ground you a little bit and bring you back to reality and see that this is not always the case, or this is not as catastrophic as it might feel in the moment. And it's also really helpful because it helps you figure out what to do next. I have linked below a free version of my Notion template of the thought record, so you can duplicate that in Notion, or you can just see the layout of it and make your own pen and paper version or whatever system you like to use. Check that out. It's absolutely free and it's in the description. Now, I mentioned cognitive distortions earlier. There are so many cognitive distortions. One of the most helpful things I found in therapy was this worksheet that my therapist gave me on the different types of cognitive distortions and how to recognize them. I do like to try and identify what sort of thought my negative thought is, so whether it is catastrophizing or emotional reasoning, but I don't want to get too much into that today, so comment below if you want to learn more about cognitive distortions and I can absolutely make some content and a worksheet for that. The second really helpful tool I learned in therapy was breathwork. Breathwork was something I was already familiar with pre-diagnosis because I was super into yoga and meditation and other nervous system regulation tools as well, because I already knew that I was struggling with my attention and anxiety before I was diagnosed. But therapy helped expand my toolbox and learn which sort of techniques to use in different situations and just give me more different types of breathwork to use depending on how I feel. What I really love about breathwork is that it is subtle, it is portable, you don't need any additional tools, and you can do it anywhere at any time for zero cost. And as somebody with a background in neuroscience, there is a lot of science behind why it works, which I'm not going to go into today, but let me know if you would like to learn more about the neuroscience behind breathwork and why it works. I also find it super helpful because it gives you a sort of instant result. Obviously, it gets better with practice, but it gives you a very quick regulation tool as opposed to only doing the cognitive work or the thought work or emotion work. Breathwork really helps get your body in the right space so that your mind can be in the right space. In fact, I love breathwork so much that I actually wrote my master's thesis on a breathwork technique and how it relates to attention. So also let me know if you'd like to know more about that. I learned a bunch of different breathwork techniques, including box breathing, long exhale breathing, the physiological sigh, and one of my current favorites is star breathing. Star breathing is my current favorite, especially because it gets your body involved quite a lot. It's still very easy to do. And basically what you do is you take your hand out like a star, like this, and you're going to use your other hand to drag your fingers up and down your other fingers. And as you go up, you're going to inhale, and as you go down, you're going to exhale. So you're supposed to do it quite slowly. So you go like inhale, and then exhale, and then inhale, and then exhale, and inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And you can do this as many times as you need to until you feel better. I find it very soothing. I find it very subtle because obviously you don't have to do it with your hand up like this. You can just do it as you're sitting with your hands in your lap or on your desk. And it's just a great way to ground yourself and calm yourself down. The third very, very helpful emotion regulation thing I learned in therapy was this framework called the Stoplight Model. It is very hard to regulate your emotions if you can't actually identify what you are feeling. So a lot of us with ADHD and a lot of other neurodivergent people or people with other mental health conditions struggle with something called alexithymia, which is the inability or challenge with recognizing and identifying what you're feeling. But our brains and bodies give us lots of signals, including emotional signals, cognitive signals, body signals, behavioral signals, and mental signals. So what the Stoplight model does is it's a little bit of work you put in advance to help kind of give you a template or a cheat sheet to help yourself recognize what you're feeling. This can help you identify the early warning signs for when things are getting not so good with you and your mind. It helps you identify both triggers and solutions, have quick access to tools you can use, and also helps you quickly identify how you can ask others to help you if that's available. Because often I find that my friends will offer to help me and I don't actually know what to tell them or how they can help me. But using the Stoplight model, I already have sort of a bank of things I can ask for so that they can help me. How do you fill it in? I have created a Stoplight model template for you, including an example of my own Stoplight model so you can see it. This one is donation based, so you just have to pay any small amount that you would like to access it. The link is also in the description. The minimum amount to pay is €1, so that would be amazing if you want to check it out. Here is a quick example of mine, but basically, you do a sort of rough overview for 4 different states of how you're feeling. You're feeling good, you're feeling less well, you're feeling not so well, and you're feeling bad. So that goes from green to yellow to orange to red, right? And for each of these, you're going to fill in what sort of emotions come up, what are the physical signs that come up, how does your body feel, what are the mental signs that come up, like how is your attention, how is your brain fog, how is your memory. You're going to list what sort of thoughts you experience in each state. You're going to list the behaviors you experience in each state. You're going to write what you can do to help yourself in each state. And also think about and write down what somebody else can do for you when you are in one of these states. So just a reminder, the link is in the description if you want a template for this. It is donation based, so you just pay any small amount and you can get access to it. Let's wrap things up. I've given you 2 resources in the description below. The Thought Log Notion template is absolutely free. You can just click that and duplicate it, or click that and have a look at it to kind of see what we're working with. And the Stoplight model is donation based, so you just pay any small amount and you can get access to that. Both links are in the description below. I really hope these emotion regulation tips helped. I know that I definitely needed them when I was first diagnosed and I started therapy, and I still need to keep coming back to them, even though I have made so much progress and it is so much easier for me to access all of these tools. I really encourage you to do these even if you're feeling good right now, because the best time to learn how to put out an emotional fire is before the emotional fire starts burning down your house. Stay tuned for part 2 of this series, where we'll be covering stuff about attention and impulsivity regulation. Make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss it. Comment below if you have any thoughts. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what you thought about this and what you would like to see more of. And all the links to all my other socials and my Substack where you can read about this are in the description.